Chris Godinez. Welcome to We Need to Have Fun with Chris Godinez. So today, what we are going to do is we are going to do a vanilla custard ice cream, but I'm also going to be doing a berry topping that you can either pour into the ice cream and mix it in your homemade ice cream mixer, or you can just leave it as a topping. It can also be used as a topping for cheesecake, etc., etc., etc. So what you're going to need is either fresh or frozen. I've got frozen. I'm trying to use up stuff that I have in the freezer because, you know, earlier this year we all kind of went crazy and bought a whole bunch of stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, you need about a pound of berries. So strawberries work, blueberries work, any of the berries work. So I'm just going to eyeball it. So about half this package into a pot on the stove. Okay, this can go back. And then you're going to turn the heat on. Where is my, there it is. No, that's not it. Yes, that's it. You're going to turn the heat on to medium heat. I'm also, I'm doing another round of the carrots that I did last time because they literally got eaten up that night. I didn't even get, well, I got one. I got one carrot. So anyway, if I stop in the middle of this and pull out some carrots, that's why. Okay, so the berry topping sauce. So what you're going to do is you're going to heat it up on the stove. You're going to go to, which recipe did I use here? Hold on. There it is. And I think it's Natasha's Kitchen is the one I used. Yes, Natasha's Kitchen. So she's got a strawberry recipe topping, and it's the same. You can use it for any of the berries. So what you're going to need is 1 pound of strawberries or mixed berries or whatever, thinly sliced. I just put them in whole because I kind of like whole stuff when I eat them. A 1/3 cup granulated sugar and 1 teaspoon of lemon juice from half of a lemon. So that's what you're going to need. Anyway, Natasha's Kitchen, she's really good. I really like her stuff. And then the old-fashioned vanilla ice cream is from, let me find the addapinch.com. So that's the one I'm going to try. I have not tried this one yet. The one I've been using was, Pampered Chef that came with the ice cream maker that I have. So we'll have to see how this goes. So anyway, that's that. Okay, so we're going to stir the berries until they get nice and cooked, and then we're going to add the sugar and all of that sort of fun stuff. So I am still experimenting with how to do the editing and all that sort of fun stuff, so please bear with me if this is not, you know, professionally produced, because I'm not a filmmaker, people. So anyway, all right, so while we're waiting for that to do its thing, last time I talked about roller coasters. This time I'm going to talk about hauntings. So I had a question. Somebody said, I know you're into the paranormal. Tell us about the paranormal experiences you've had. Okay. Well, so when I was a very small child, I saw, and I still do to this day, see spirits. And no, I'm not schizoaffective or schizotypal or any of that sort of happy horseshit. I am able to see spirits. Not all the time, but I do see them quite frequently. And yeah, it kind of freaks me out when I see them. So because of that, because of the experiences I had when I was a kid. So the first experience that I really remember is this head came floating across my bedroom. I was probably about 5 or 6. This head came floating across my bedroom, and it did one of those slow turns, you know, and of course it was like a horror movie. And the face at first looked like Jesus. It did. It was bearded. It was, you know, long hair, you know, kind face, the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, as it was turning, it morphed into this very bald, scar, you know, kind of face. Not evil, not, you know, not like they were going to hurt me or anything, but it just was not a friendly face. And I remember looking at that going, what the actual, didn't know swear words at that time, but I was freaking the hell out. So I pulled the blankets over my head. I was 5 or 6, and I was like, oh, okay, hopefully it'll be gone. And then I lowered the blankets. And then in the corner of the room, I saw a very fat angel. So I don't know what that means, and I know I was not asleep. So that was my first experience with the paranormal. Later on, I would see spirits, and they would sometimes be translucent, and sometimes they'd be as rock solid as you and me. So when I was living in Los Angeles, John and I were living at this very old apartment complex on Manning Avenue, and I loved it there. I loved it. I love old places, you know that. So it was built probably in the 1940s or the 1950s. And it had a swimming pool that was in the courtyard. And every single time, and I kid you not, and other guests that we had would mention this as well, every single time you walked past the swimming pool, and you had to walk past the swimming pool in order to get outside to get down to the carports, which were underneath the apartment, every single time you walked past, your eye was drawn to the deep end of the pool. And I am telling you, I think somebody drowned there. I don't know. I would have to look it up. I'd have to try to find records for that place. But you just got the sense or the feeling that somebody died there. Somebody didn't live, and everybody commented on it. There was not a guest that we had that didn't be like, "Hey, did somebody die in that pool?" Which is kind of creepy. But anyway, we were on the 3rd floor, and like I said, it was an old building. There were no elevators. There was only one other floor above us, so it was kind of like, you know, there's the 1st floor where the swimming pool was, then you went up a stairway, there was a 2nd floor, you went up another stairway, there was our apartment, you went up another stairway, and there was the other apartments over here. So one night, John calls me. This is, you know, I'm on my way home from work, and he calls me and he's like, okay, don't freak out, but somebody tried to break into our apartment. And I was like, what? And of course, I freaked out because that's what I do. So doesn't do me any good telling me not to freak out. Anyway, so I got home, and the funny thing of it is that whoever tried to break into the apartment, oh, I need to back up before I tell you that story. So in our apartment, okay, our roommate Eric had the master bedroom, and we had the other bedroom. It was a 2-bedroom apartment. And so he was across the hall from us, our bedroom was on the other side, and then our bathroom was at the end of the hall, right? So every single time we had to get up to go use the bathroom, it felt like somebody was standing right there in the doorway. Like you were like eye to eye with somebody every single time. Now, could it have been electromagnetic fields? Yeah, it could have. It was an old building. It probably didn't have shielded electrical. So that could be why we all felt that sense of presence and things like that. I mean, even though I'm a believer, I always try to find a logical explanation, because I'm not going to just be like, oh yeah, it's paranormal. Well, no, it could be electrical, it could be the plumbing, it could be a myriad of things. So, but the weird thing of it is, again, everybody felt that. It's like going down to the restroom to use it. Everybody was creeped out by the hallway. So one night, I think it was a full moon, if I'm not mistaken, I got up to go to the kitchen to get some water. And I didn't feel anything when I opened the door, but as I was walking down the hallway to get to the kitchen, it felt like a wet blanket went through me. It was the weirdest feeling ever. And it was like a wet blanket, and then 2 seconds later, I hear John yell from the bedroom, and he's like sitting up in bed when I came running back in there, sitting up in bed, pointing at one of our mirrors going, I just saw an old man's face. And John is, you can understand, John is a IT guy. He is about as skeptical as you can get. He is not a believer. He's open-minded, but he's not, it's not his thing. Paranormal is not his thing. So anyway, so he was yelling that he saw an old man's face in one of the mirrors on our dresser, and which is weird because, like I said, it felt like something had passed through me and kept going down the hall. So that kind of freaked us out. Then a few months later, and weird things would happen around the apartment. Things would disappear, things would reappear, that kind of thing. And anyway, a few months later, our apartment got broken into. And the strange thing of it was, and I never felt threatened. I don't know how to explain that. I never felt threatened. I never felt like, oh, this is dangerous or this is evil or, anything like that. The weird thing of it was that whoever broke into our apartment or tried to, there was a window right next to our apartment door. It was cracked open. So whoever tried to break in, tried to go in through the door. Y'all could have just opened the window and climbed on in. They didn't do that. I don't know why it was cracked open. That was kind of weird. But anyway, they broke off the handle and they didn't get inside. Nothing was missing. Like, we looked everywhere. There was nothing missing. We called the police, filed a report, got a door person out there. Something or somebody scared off whoever was trying to break into the apartment. So we get the door taken care of. I'm stressed out. It was after work, you know, and we're both hungry and we just didn't feel like cooking. So I said, okay, let's go to Earth, Wind, and Flower. Earth, Wind, and Flower used to be in Westwood. So it was literally right down the street from where we were living. So we were getting ready to go. We asked Eric if he wanted to go, and he's like, oh, no, I got a girl coming over. That was a common experience with Eric. I swear to God, it was like some days you'd walk in the house and you'd be like, oh, and you are? You know, because he always had different women over there. Oh, Lord. Glad I don't have roommates now. Anyway, so John and I got ready to go, and John went ahead to go start the car and everything. And I came down. So he was already at the bottom of the stairs. I had just started coming down from our apartment, and I heard feet coming down the stairway. And I thought, oh, Eric's going to come join us after all, you know? And so I told John, I said, hang on a second, John, I think Eric's coming with us. And I turned back around to look, and I see this pair of legs coming down the stairway with bell-bottom jeans on, which Eric did wear bell-bottom jeans, yeah. But it wasn't Eric. It was full hippie regalia, like the vest, the headband, the long hair, bell-bottom jeans, and he jumped over the side of the stairway to the landing, right? And I'm thinking in my head, oh my God, it's a homeless person. Why is this homeless person running after me? What the hell? But it was weird because it was like he jumped, he landed, and then he did like, ta-da, you know, that kind of, he didn't say ta-da, but he was like, ta-da, couldn't see his face. It was white. It was light. It was just light, right? So I'm sitting there looking at this going, what? You know? And he was only there for a few seconds and poof, disappeared. Like there and gone. It was just the weirdest thing. And so I come down the stairway and John's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I just saw a ghost. And, you know, we were talking, we were like, well, this could be who we think died in the pool because we keep feeling like somebody died in the pool. And it was obviously 1960s, maybe early 1970s. So yeah, that was kind of weird. The other experience that I have had is that we were driving to, was it Show Low? I think it was Show Low. Driving to Show Low, I was driving, John was in the passenger seat, and we were going down the 60. And I think it's before you get to the gorge where you have that really windy, twisty road. But anyway, we were driving, and there were like, you know, meadows and things like that around us. And this hand comes through the cabin, like through the cabin, and it's pointing, right? And it was a female hand, it had nice nails, it had rings on it, and pointing this way. And it just went out the window door, you know, the window. And John, and my hands are on the wheel, right? And so John looks at me and he's like, what are you pointing at? And I'm like, dude, that wasn't me. My hands have been on the wheel this whole time. He's like, no, you're pointing at something. I'm like, no, it wasn't me. So that was a little weird. And it was weird that he saw it too. So that was a little interesting. So that was another thing. So as far as paranormal stuff, oops, let me check the carrots. Oh, I think we might be done. Hold on a moment. Hold that thought. Where is my... There it is. Okay. So, oh, beautiful carrots. Yeah, like I said, I didn't get a chance to have any last time. So, all right. Where was I? So as far as the paranormal groups are concerned, I joined a paranormal group in 2009, and went on a lot of different investigations with them. It was very interesting. I formed my own paranormal group, which I still have. We just don't do much because all of us are working and it's COVID and yay team. Okay, hang on. All right, so the berries are pretty well done. Let me add in the sugar. So you're going to do just a little bit of sugar. You could do a 1/4 cup, you could do a 1/3 cup. You don't need a whole lot of sugar with berries because, you know, they're sweet to begin with. So hang on a second. Let me find the correct... There we go. All right, so let me get the sugar, and then we're going to add the sugar in. Hang on. Don't go anywhere. Where did my sugar go? There it is. All right. Oh. Okay. All right, so there that is. Dump that in. All right. And we're going to stir that around and let that dissolve. Paranormal groups. So we had a lot of really interesting investigations. I opened my own paranormal group, which we haven't had time to do anything because, I mean, we've done like a couple of investigations, but then, you know, COVID and all of us work and, you know, that's really hard to kind of do. But I still keep posting to it because I like to post stuff from the Australian Paranormal Society. She has some really interesting posts and things like that. Okay, hold on. Did the sugar. What do I need now? I need a tablespoon of lemon juice. Tablespoon of lemon juice. There it is. All right, so we did encounter some paranormal activity. So I will tell you my favorite. So Tombstone, Arizona. Love Tombstone. Love, 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 love. It's really touristy. I'm not going to lie. It's, you know, it has the gunfights and everything. Okay, hang on. So we got the tablespoon of lemon juice. We've got the sugar in there. Now, what makes this nice is to add a little bit of butter. So it just makes it nice and glossy. You don't need to add the butter if you don't want to. I like to because I think it makes it taste a little creamier, which is good. But you don't have to. So again, if you are vegan or vegetarian, you do not have to add the butter. It's just something I like to do. I really hope to God I don't end up like Paula Dean, because she would always make her recipes super fatty and weird. So when I say a little bit of butter, I'm talking like a pad. I'm not talking like, you know, dump the whole thing in, because that would be bad. Anyway, Tombstone, Arizona. Yes, it is definitely haunted. We went to the Birdcage Theater. We did several investigations there. One of the claims is you can hear singing. Well, I'm going to debunk that one for you right now. So you can definitely hear everything going on in the town in the birdcage. It's not well insulated. I mean, it's adobe, yes, for sure, but it's not well insulated in that you can hear stuff. And they do karaoke, which we call scarioke, every Friday and Saturday night. So when we're trying to do an investigation, yeah, you can hear people singing, but it's not from the birdcage, it's from the scarioke down the street. So is the birdcage haunted? Yes, abso-freaking-lutely. I believe wholeheartedly it is, and here's the reason why. So when we were there, I would hear, and other people would hear this as well, the tinkling of glasses. Like you could hear glasses, you know, hitting each other and stuff. There's no glasses. It's not a working bar. There's nothing. So when you walk into the birdcage, okay, hold on. Okay, so this is done. I don't know how I'm going to show this to you. I'm going to turn on this light. Hang on. So this is done. Let me... See, there's the... There it is. So it's done. So that's it. And then what you do is you put it in the fridge. And you just let it chill. And then it's ready to be topping for whatever you need. So I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to put this in a container. And then we're going to start in on the custard vanilla ice cream as soon as I find a container. That would be helpful. There we go. Oh, wait a minute. Nope. Okay. Yep. All right. So, anyway, the birdcage is haunted. It definitely is. You figure it's one of the only original buildings from the time period, from the 1800s. I'm going to set this over here. Grab one of these. I'm just going to let that cool down. There we go. It's one of the original buildings from the 1800s. I think there's 2 or 3 of them. The building, the town burnt down like 3 or 4 times, so it doesn't have a whole lot of original buildings. Now they've recreated it so that it looks like 1880s Tombstone, sort of. So what they did is they did the forced perspective on a lot of the 2-story buildings. So instead of having the full, 2-story building, because there was the Palace, there was the Grand Hotel, there's the Crystal, and the Oriental and things like that. So when they rebuilt them, they did them one story, and then they did a forced perspective, kind of like Disneyland, on all the second stories, which is kind of sad. I really kind of wish they had actually rebuilt them, because I think that would have been way cool. What am I going to do with these? Hold on just a second. Again, I need to figure out a place to put these to cool down. We're just going to put them over here. Never enough counter space. I don't care how big your kitchen is. It never has enough counter space. Okay, now we are going to do the old-fashioned vanilla ice cream, which is from adapinch.com. Okay, so we need 4 egg yolks. All right. See, I've never done this before, so we'll see how this turns out. Okay, where were we? Egg yolks. All right, so 1880s. I can turn that off. Whew, there we go. So the buildings are not original. They are rebuilt, which is kind of sad, but kind of necessary because, like I said, the town burned down like 3 times. When you go to Tombstone, things you must do. You have to go to the diorama. It's hysterical, and it holds a very sweet place in my heart because Vincent Price narrated the diorama, and it's just hysterically funny. It's so out of date, and it's so funny, and it's Vincent Price. Who doesn't love Vincent Price? I love Vincent Price. He's awesome. Anyway, he narrates the diorama, which I think is just really amazing. Ah, cool. Come here, egg yolk. Don't you dare. There you go. Okay, there we are. Well, I'm not good at this. I know there's an easier way somehow. Oh, there's the egg yolk. Yay! So anyway, he narrates the diorama, which is over at the OK Corral. The OK Corral, too, has been mostly rebuilt. I mean, it was pretty much destroyed, and it was like falling apart by the 1950s because people don't appreciate history. And, here's the other thing. So the fight at the OK Corral didn't actually happen at the OK Corral. It actually happened next to the sheriff's office, which is in the alleyway next to the OK Corral, which is kind of disappointing, but it's kind of cool to see. So Fremont Street is still there. Before you go, John's going to laugh at me for this. Before you go, you have to watch Tombstone, not the one with Kevin Costner. You have to watch the one with Kurt Russell because A, Kurt Russell rocks the Casbah, woohoo! And B, it's really actually pretty well done. I was kind of scared when it first came out. I was like, are they going to give this really good treatment? So it was pretty well done. Plus the fact Sam Elliott, hello, Sam Elliott, Kurt Russell, whew, be still my beating heart. So, yeah, great movie, love it. It's so funny because my nephew Vernon, he watches it faithfully when he's at the fire station because he's a fireman. Anyway, so great movie. Do watch it before you go. They filmed a lot of it in Tucson at the Tucson movie studio. The sad thing of it is that we stopped having movies here because our governors, in their immense stupidity, decided not to give breaks to movies to be made here. So guess where all of the Avengers films went? Don't get me started because they were thinking about Arizona and they went to Georgia. I'm still bitter about that. Anyway, yeah, so, and we have a studio down there. We've got wonderful stuntmen here that I just don't understand why our governor is too stupid to see that films would employ a hell of a lot of people. Seriously, think about it. Hang on. So while I'm off on this tangent, when a film gets made in a state, you have to have drivers. You have to have people doing hair. You have to have people doing makeup. You have extras. You have dry cleaning. You have restaurants. You have, I mean, you name it, you got it. And it really stimulates the economy. Hold on. I'm dropping everything on the floor. And honestly, when people travel, they want to see where it's filmed. Prime example, New Zealand, Hobbiton. I am going, bitches. I swear to God and all that's holy, if it's the last fucking thing I do, I'm getting my ass over to New Zealand and I'm going to go see Hobbiton because I want to see it. So anyway, people go and visit where things have been filmed because it's fun. It's fun to kind of go, oh, that's what this looks like. So when I was a kid, I know I'm on a tangent, but I'm cooking and things are going, so, you know, it's a thing. When I was a kid, my mom and I took a trip to Ireland, and Excalibur had just come out. And I was in love with Excalibur. I just thought it was a great movie, completely not realistic, but the boys were pretty. So anyway, when we were there, we got to see a lot of the sites. Oops, get in there, please. A lot of the castles that were used in Excalibur. And it was so cool to see that, okay, this one where they're in the moat and they're fighting and everything, and you're thinking it's out in the middle of a forest. No, right on the other side is a parking lot. And it's like, wow, movie magic. You know, I love stuff like that. I really do. I'm such a geek. I love visiting, like, you know, where they filmed it. What does it really look like? How did they do the shots? Where did they get it from? How did they make sure that you didn't get in the parking lot, or, you know, because, you know, like in some movies, they're always like, oh, well, you can see a car driving down, or, you know, whatever. And, okay, 4 egg yolks. Okay, add the egg yolks and sugar to a medium saucepan. Okay, so 4 egg yolks, oops, and a half a cup of granulated sugar. Oh my goodness, am I running out of pots? Oh my pots, oh my God. Okay, we're just gonna use this one. Okay, so anyway, it is cool to see where things have been filmed. I need a scraper thing. Boop. And I love stuff like that. And I love to see how the cinematographer was able to, you know, shoot it so that it did look like it was out in the middle of a complete forest, you know, out in the middle of nowhere, which is kind of cool. Okay, so hold on, I can't do 2 things at once. All right, 4 egg yolks, half a cup of granulated sugar. Okay, let me get the half a cup. There it is. Granulated sugar. Hang on. All right. There's the half cup granulated sugar. All right. Ah, too many things. Need more counter space. Okay. Now, add yolks and sugar to medium saucepan and whisk until a light yellow color. Oh, if I was going to be my whisk, where would it be? Right there. Okay. All right. So, anyway, the cool thing about Tombstone, the movie Tombstone, is that it was filmed at the Tucson movie studios, which is still there. We have amazing stuntmen here. So, like, the Rough Riders are a local stuntman team that's run by Ed Vanderlee, and I just love them. I love Ed. I love Ed. He's awesome. He's such a sweet guy. I just adore him. And it's so funny, though, because every time I go to see his Rough Rider show, I have to close my eyes. Because either he or one of his team does like the long jump, the big fall off the top of the building, and being an ant, I'm just like, I can't condone this. But I go and watch him anyway because I like him. So he's a sweet guy. I love him to death. He used to be an engineer on my show that I used to do on Dave Pratt's network. Okay, hang on. Squirrel. Okay, add yolks and sugar to medium saucepan and whisk until a light yellow color. Okay, hold on. Let's see if I can show you the light yellow color. There we go. That's the light yellow color. All right, so, boop. All right, well combined, it is. In another small saucepan, oh no, I need another saucepan. Heat milk over medium-low heat until it just begins to simmer. Okay, I think this small saucepan. Fabulous. Okay. Oh. All right, did I mention I'm not professional with this? This is just a hobby, don't get mad. All right, so, okay, so you're gonna do 1 cup whole milk. If I was gonna be a cup, where would I be? I would be just straight up. Okay, 1 cup whole milk. Okay. There it is. It's right there. Okay. All right, 1 cup whole milk. All right. 1 cup whole milk. All right, it goes in here, it goes there. Add 1 cup whole milk. Combine in small passing heat milk over medium-low heat until it begins to simmer. Okay. Medium-low. Okay, got that done. So we've got amazing stunt people here, which I fail to understand why our government, our governor, refuses to do any sort of tax credits because it brings so much money into the state. And quite frankly, Tombstone, how long ago was that movie made? 1992, 93, mid-90s, something like that? It's still bringing in tourists to see Tombstone because of the movie, even though it wasn't filmed there. It's like that it was filmed in Tucson. So, yeah, it's stupid. Don't get me started. Anyway, back to the haunting. Sorry, squirrel. Okay, so tell it stimmers, do not stir. Do not stir. Okay. All right, so we're going to wait until that simmers. That's all good to go. Anyway, ghosts. So, Tombstone does have some hauntings there. It really, the Birdcage Theater really is haunted. You're going to hear weird things. You're going to smell weird things. Now, there's also a theory that the wood holds in smells like cigar smoke and things like that. So it is possible that if it is humid and it is warm, the wood could be releasing the cigar smoke. We have smelled cigar smoke, but here's how I know it is haunted. So on 2 separate occasions with 2 different male members of the group, both of them got touched, and we heard swishing of skirts. So let me explain what's happening. So you walk into the Birdcage Theater. On the left, well, it's got the pretty, the arched doors and everything, and you walk in, and on the left is the original bar. And it's beautiful. It's wood. It's gorgeous. It's just so pretty. Oh, Victorian. It is awesome. Anyway, it's beautiful. And then they've got it blocked off because originally you could see straight back to the stage, right? So the bottom part of the theater was used as a gambling hall, as an audience section for when the stage was being used, etc. And there were bird cages, in other words, prostitute, little areas that they would ply their trade. They were called bird cages. So they're nailed into the ceiling. That's why nobody's allowed up there, because they're nailed into the ceiling. And it's just room after room after room after room all the way around. And it's where they would ply their trades. So in those rooms, they would, gentlemen would pay I think it was $20, $25, and they could stay as long as they were awake. As long as they were spending money and awake, they could stay as long as they wanted. So they would pay the madam the $25, and they would go up into the bird cages. When you opened the door, let me see if I can remember this right. So you open the door, you go in. When you close the door, a bed, a wooden thing would come down. It wouldn't be a bed. It wouldn't be big enough for a bed. But it would be big enough for somebody to lay down on. And so it would come down. You could close the curtains if you were the lady of the night, and then you plied your trade while the stage show was going on or while the gambling was going on below. So it's definitely got an energy to it. It's like, so when we walked in, the hair on the back of your neck kind of goes, and you're like, oh, we're not alone. So I've taken several pictures there. I'll have to try to find them. I did see a dark shadow of a cowboy sitting next to the faro table, which is interesting because Doc Holliday used to ply his trade there. And though the thing of it is that in the high summer months, they have somebody on a speakerphone trying to draw people in. So when that's going on, you're not going to see or feel or hear anything. You've got to go in the low months when there's not a lot of tourists, when it's quieter. They don't have the circus thing going and everything like that. When I say circus thing, I mean the trying to draw people in kind of thing. Anyway, so 2 male members of our groups. 1, we were backstage. 3, actually. Damn, now that I'm thinking about it. So 3 members of our group backstage. They've got the child coffins. They've got the ones that you used to for the wakes, so that you could come by, give your respects, and then they would take the body out and put it in the real coffin and then bury it. So they have the for show coffins. I know there's a term for it, and I can't think of what it is. Anyway, those are backstage. And so we got an EVP one time that somebody was asking, are you here? And you hear, I'm here, I'm right here. And it's a male voice, which is really freaky when you hear it. You're just kind of like, what? So anyway, we were all in a circle. My back was to the child coffins, and we were just asking questions in the dark. Are you here? Why are you here? What do you need? That kind of thing. And I felt this. I felt little fingers, like a little kid, and just putting their hand on my arm, and I just was like, I'm being touched, guys. And then pretty soon, my buddy Sean across the way, he was like, somebody's pulling on my pants like a little kid would. Well, then we started hearing this flipping noise, this like metal on metal kind of sound, like flip, 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 flip. And we're like, what the heck is that? That's not the clinking of glasses. We heard the clinking of the glasses earlier, but we heard the flip, 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 flip. And I have the wrong thing on. No wonder it's not getting warm. Hello. Let's try this again, shall we? So we heard the flip, flip, flip of this metal on metal thing. And we couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And it was different from the clinking of the glasses and things like that. So felt the little fingers. He felt the tug on him. Then, we turn on the lights. We're going downstairs, and another team member suddenly does this, and they were in front of me, and I was back, and he turned around, and he's like, did you touch me? And I'm like, dude, I'm like 6 feet away from you. I didn't touch you. Why? And he's like, I felt like some kid just ran by and hit my hand. And I was like, okay, that's a little weird. All right. So that happened, and then later on, he was standing at the top of the stairs, and all of a sudden I could see his hair go up, like somebody was ruffling his hair with fingers. And it did. It looked like like when you take your hand and you kind of ruffle somebody's hair with fingers, and it just stood. And he was like, somebody's touching me, and I'm like, yes, they are. You're a guy. You're in a brothel. Of course you're being touched. So that was a little weird. And then on another investigation at the birdcage, we all went down into the old poker room, and this is where I think it was the longest poker game in the West occurred for like 10 years, 12 years, 24 hours a day. And so we were down there, and my other friend that was there was like, somebody is rubbing my leg. I'm like, well, it's not me. And he's like, yeah, it's a very suggestive kind of rub. It's like, hey, baby, how you doing? And I'm like, well, again, we're in a brothel, so it doesn't surprise me. And then we were all quiet, and all of a sudden we could hear the swishing of skirts, like somebody in a skirt was coming down the stairs. And it wasn't Nova, who used to work there. It wasn't any of the docents or anything like that. There was nobody around. And we could hear this swish, swish, swish of skirts coming closer, and then it just stopped. It was crazy go nuts. So that was my experience at the Tombstone Theater at the Birdcage. It is haunted. It absolutely is. I 100% think it is. I know your next question is going to be, what do I think of all the paranormal shows? I do not like Ghost Adventures. I don't. Not every haunting is evil. So I could tell you stories that Nova told me of when Ghost Adventurers was at the Birdcage, and let's just say that they are very much interested in making it a TV show. I'm just going to leave it at that. So I don't particularly care for that one at all. I do like Portals to Hell, mainly because I love Jack Osborne and Katrina. I love Katrina. Katrina has been an amazing paranormal investigator. I've watched her career from, I think it was called Paranormal State, all the way through to Portals to Hell. I love her. She is one badass babe, let me tell you. I mean, because she'll go and she'll do things that I would be very hesitant to do. So one of the things that is just a given, and this is one reason why I quit the first paranormal team I was in. Provoking. You never provoke. You never, ever. Listen to me now, believe me later. You never provoke. That's like walking into somebody's house and start yelling at them. Do you expect them to receive you nicely? And if you're dealing with any sort of energies that are not human, y'all don't want to be doing that. Trust me on that one. And I don't deal with demonic hauntings. If we get called on a demonic haunting, I refer it out, because it's like, nope, no thank you. No thank you very much. I don't need an old priest and a young priest. Thank you very much. So, this is hot. Holy cow. Cooking on a stove when it's 111 today. Anyway, it's just about there. So you don't provoke. you just don't provoke. It's not a good idea. You don't want to be provoking. So, where was I going with that? So when you do an investigation, I also did Waverly Hills. I did with Spence Chamberlain and his group. It was amazing. It is haunted, and it does have a demonic haunting, or it did when we were there. And you got to be prepared. You got to do your research. I know some paranormal investigators are like, no, I don't want to know anything, which I understand. It's like, it's kind of good to go in blind, so to speak, so that whatever experiences happen, you're not being influenced by what you've read or what you've seen on television. That's true. But when you go into an investigation and you're not told everything, like, for example, there could be a demonic haunting there, that makes it a little dangerous. So when I prepare for an investigation, I basically pray. I pray for protection, and I keep holy water with me because homie don't play that. So, yeah, the Waverly Hills was definitely haunted. There was no two ways about that. That was definitely a weird one. And in that one, in Spence's first investigation there, he and a team member were walking down by the gift store, and they heard a growl between them, and it was not a stomach growl. And that's something that you need to learn. When you're doing paranormal investigations, you need to learn the difference between a real growl and a stomach growl, because stomach growls can sound like real growls, you know. And you never eat chili or anything like that before going on an investigation. You don't eat anything that's going to cause your stomach to be rumbling and tumbling. Oh, I think this is... Yes, it is simmering. Hang on a second. Okay. Do not stir. Gradually add the milk to egg and sugar mixture, stirring constantly. Return to heat. Okay, but do not allow it to come to a boil. Okay, gradually add milk to egg and sugar mixture, stirring constantly. Okay. Gradually add milk. Gradually, there we go. Okay, there we go, and then return to heat until it reaches 165, but do not allow it to come to a boil. As soon as it reaches the correct temperature, remove from the heat, pour custard base into airtight container and store in the refrigerator until it chills to 65. The longer the custard base chills, the creamier your ice cream will be. Alrighty then. Okay, so we're not going to allow this to come to a boil. Do I have a thermometer? God, the candy thermometer. I don't think I do. Ah, crap. Alright, well, this is going to be interesting. So, I'm just going to have to keep it from boiling. As soon as it starts to maybe... Yeah, okay. See, I didn't think this through very well. So, because I'm not a cook. I mean, I am a cook, but I'm not like, you know, it's not something... I didn't get into it until this whole COVID thing happened. So, where was I? Waverly Hills, right. So I always protect myself by praying before I go on an investigation. I do keep a crucifix with me, even though I am Buddhist. And because, again, Buddhism is a philosophy. It's a religion in Thailand, for sure. But it's also a philosophy. So, you know, raised Southern Baptist, but I'll tell you what, St. Michael's my dude. And you don't provoke. You just do not provoke. So they heard a growling in between them. When we were there... what else happened when we were there? They also heard a growling, I think, when we were there. And when we were up on the 4th floor, which is the floor that has the surgery on it. We were walking down the hallway. So there's 2 hallways. There's an outside hallway, which is where they would wheel the healthy patients out to get the air. I mean, it's a beautiful spot. It's in Kentucky. It's in Louisville. And it would make a beautiful hotel, but they need to get rid of all the negative vibes there first. So we were walking in the inner hallway. Now, the inner hallway, what they would do is they would take the patients that were going to die, and they put them on the other side of the hospital. So, and it was basically so that in the morning they would wheel out the healthy patients, and then any patients that had died, they would take them out in that middle hallway so that the healthy patients couldn't see it and lose morale, and they would take them down to the body chute. That too is haunted. We'll talk about that. So anyway, we were walking down that middle hallway. We were going towards the surgery. And as we were walking, the two girls in front of me were suddenly stopped cold, and I was in the middle, and Spence was behind me. And they go, "Do you smell that?" And I was like, "Smell what?" And they're like, "Come here." And so I walked up to where they were, and there was the overpowering smell of sulfur. And I was like, "Okay, that's not a good sign. We need to get out of here." So we booked it out to the front, and we found one of the guides, and we told them what happened. They're like, "Oh, yeah, that's Big Black." And I'm like, "Who's Big Black?" And they're like, "Oh, well, it's this negative entity, possibly demonic, that haunts the fourth floor or haunts the building. And that's how you know it's about to manifest." And I'm sitting here going, "I'm sorry, what?" So we adjourned back down to the safe room, and all of us got out the holy water, and we anointed ourselves and did a prayer, and then we went back to investigating. And of course, by the time we got back up there, which was like 15 minutes later, it was gone. There was no smell. It was the weirdest thing. Also, in the surgery, I got the strangest sense of funhouse effect. Now, what funhouse effect is where you feel like the floor is not even, and it feels wibbly wobbly and you know, kind of off balance in the whole thing. And the weird thing of it is that the floor in there is cement, so there's no way that it's wibbly wobbly. I could see that happening in like an old wooden house with wooden floors. That can, you know, it can be warped, it can be off kilter. Oftentimes when you go to investigate like older houses, especially Victorians, sometimes they'll be less than square. And so, you know, if you put a ball at one end, it'll roll because it's slightly tilted. So that will give you the funhouse effect. So that is, it was a weird thing. And I asked one of the members, and they're like, "Well, that generally means somebody's trying to mess with you." And I was like, "Okay, great." And of course, later that night, we smelled the sulfur, and I was like, "Oh, hey, not today, Satan." Mm-mm. So anyway, there that was. So those are my top ghost experiences. And, you know, I've had others, and investigating is a lot of fun, but the thing of it is you want to make sure to get with an investigative team that does not do provoking, because provoking is just bad manners, period. And you want to get with one that is fun, being the optimal word. And the problem of it is, too, is that when we were doing the first one, everybody had a show. Like, there were so many paranormal shows going on. So when we went to investigate, people would be like, "Well, where are the cameras?" And it's like, we're not a TV show, guys. We're an investigative group. We're just, you know, out here to see what's out here. So that you're going to run across that a lot, too. People are going to want to know, where's the cameras? They want to be on TV, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which I think is interesting and somewhat annoying. And the other problem of it is, too, is that we used to be able to get into places for very little money or for free, and now because of all the television shows, it is very, very difficult to find a place that is willing to let you do an investigation without a ginormous fee. And the thing about Waverly Hills, the problem with that one is that they had, I think, 50 people doing an investigation, or 10 people doing an investigation. So, 10 people per floor. So, and that was a problem because you would get on a floor, like if your group was less than 10 people, you would have people there that were not part of your group, that didn't know how to investigate, that had been watching way too many television shows, that were provoking, that were, you know, doing all sorts of stuff that they should not, what? As I drop things everywhere, should not be doing. And so it made it very difficult to do an investigation because, you know, getting an EVP when you've got people down at the other end yelling and screaming and provoking and all sorts of stuff is really difficult to do. So anyway, that's it. I do believe that this is the right temperature. It's kind of looking like it. I hope it is. We'll see. Next time I got to get a candy thermometer. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so we're going to do that. We're going to turn this off. This has got a chill in the refrigerator down to 65 degrees. So this is going to be a two-parter. I'll finish it up as soon as this is chilled, and then we'll continue on. So in ending this part of it, you can find the recipe on adapenge.com for that, and for the other one, what was the Lord. Topping. Okay, so I just looked it up under strawberry topping. Natasha's Kitchen. Natasha's Kitchen, or any of those ones are good. So, all right, so this is going to be a two-parter, and we will come back when this is cooled down enough. The longer it cools, the better, so it's probably going to be tomorrow. So, I mean, I'll post it, obviously, as soon as I get it all edited and pretty and stuff like that. So, anyway, I hope that answers your question on the paranormal. Yes, I am a believer. Yes, I have seen ghosts. Yes, I continue to see ghosts. No, I'm not crazy. Well, crazy in a fun way. Don't provoke. Get with a good, fun team that tries to be as professional. And when I say professional, I mean, you got to understand, this is not an exact thing. This is not like, oh, I'm a professional ghost hunter. It's like, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know what's out there. We don't know what it is we're talking to. Is it interdimensional? Is it a ghost? Is it, is it a demon? Is it what the fuck? We don't know. So, but you do want to get people that act professionally, meaning respect. RESPECT, find out what it means to the paranormal world. Seriously. Do not yell. Do not provoke. Do not be mean to your team members. It's like respect, respect, respect. You never, ever want to leave a team member alone. I always get really nervous when I see paranormal shows sending people off by themselves, because I'm like, don't do that, because you don't know what's going to happen. So it's safety in numbers kind of thing. And it's always good to have another witness there, too. So anyway, there that is. All right, so there is going to be a part 2. Dear Lord, this is almost an hour long. I am so sorry. So when this cools down, probably tomorrow morning, I will do another one, and we'll do part 2 of vanilla ice cream. Okay, talk to you soon. Have a great day, guys, and keep the questions coming. Let me know what else you want me to ramble on while I'm cooking. So, talk to you later. Bye.